Blog Talk Radio.
Across the country and around the world, streaming live on the internet, it's Real Estate Coaching Radio, bringing you the latest news, interviews, and secrets of the top producers. Hosted by award-winning real estate coaches, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back to Real Estate Coaching Radio, and we are your hosts. I am Tim Harris, and of course, this is my lovely wife, Julie Harris. Julie, welcome to today's radio show.
Thank you very much.
So, like every radio show, guys, we are focusing you in on giving you the absolute truth about what is truly working in this real estate recovery, what is truly working with the top producers, with the nation's leaders of your real estate market, what they're doing to get into action, make money, and obviously focus on the mindset of being of service. Now, I had a couple coaching calls today, which made me a little concerned for some of you, because as I've said, a lot of you, now that we're basically at the tipping point in the year, you're going to have to actually make a decision how you want the rest of your year to go. Because at this point in 2014, you are either behind your goals, you're on track for your goals, assuming you know what your goals are, by the way, or you're having the best year of your life and you're having a fantastic year. And I have to say, most of our coaching clients, they're definitely in that last group. They're having the best years of their lives. And, fantastic, great job, stay focused, keep that momentum. So if you are finding yourself in any of those three categories, which all of you should fall in one of the three categories, the main thing to understand is you still have time, but not as much as you might think. So there's 6 months left this year, and if you take out the holidays, the weekends, the 4th of July weekends coming, or week for many of you is coming up next month, all the normal types of and times of year when people don't work, well, you're not going to be working then either, because you might want to be prospecting, you might want to be going after buyers and sellers, but they're going to be at the beach. You get the idea? So we are really, towards the end of the year, only really looking at maybe effectively 60 to 70 actual working days left this year. Again, if you go backwards from December till, June or July, you're looking at 2 weeks in December, realistically, are not going to be real working weeks. Maybe 1 week, but realistically 2 weeks in November. Last week in October, you guys get the idea how we came up with that number. And assuming also that you don't want to work every weekend, you're looking at maybe 60 to 70 days of real, actual, honest-to-God working days left this year. So if you're behind your goals, if you're on track for your goals, or if you're ahead of the curve and you're having the best year of your life, the thing to remember is, yes, you still have 6 months, but realistically we have maybe 60 to 70 actual working days. So that does create real pressure for some of you, as it should, especially if you're in the category of being behind where you wanted to be income-wise. And that's what today's radio show is all about. So I had a free coaching call earlier today, and the guy, very, very smart, very capable, newer agent, only in the business for basically 6 months. He's already working on probably 5 or 6 deals, and maybe there's 2 or 3 others that after our coaching call he realizes that he could make into closed transactions as well. So over the next 60 to 90 days, let's say, he's going to have maybe closed 8 or 10 deals. Pretty good for your first 6 to 9 months in the real estate business. I think most brokers will agree. We, of course, want to make it so that every one of you, especially when you become one of our coaching clients, have closed 10 deals after 90 days. But in the reality, in the overall real estate world, that's not so bad. And with his average sale price, he's going to turn himself around financially. What really was kind of shocking to me about that call, and it shouldn't be at this point of after being a real estate coach for this long, is that he really didn't have any direction. He didn't realize where the opportunities were in front of him today, right now, to make money. He thought he was opportunityless, and the fact is he was surrounded by opportunity. Our free coaching call, my time with him, was about focusing his mind in on where those opportunities were, and that is the goal of today's radio show. So, Julie, as I was going through talking about this free coaching call, I am 100% positive that you've had lots of free coaching calls like that yourself. The mindset of somebody, we're in there in that state of consternation, it really does start with turning them around to the fact that they can still have a fantastic year. How do you get people to break away from this sort of a lot of this negative mindset that happens, realizing that, they're into the second half of the year and they're not doing what they hope to do? How do you cure them of that?
Well, one way is to reset your year. If that's the issue and you're feeling bad or sorry for yourself or extra specially broke because you didn't have a great first quarter, second quarter, and now the year seems to get away from you and you're having, whether you admit it or not, agents oftentimes will at least subconsciously start to write off the whole year. Well,
Yep,
I didn't have a
do.
great first or second quarter. Maybe next year will be my comeback year, or next year will be my best year. Next year I'll have a better start. Well, there's a long time between here and next year. So if that's what your issue is, just declare today to be January 1st. Nobody says you have to run with the traditional year. You could just pretend you got your license today. Now we're going to reset everything, and we're going to do it the right way. We're going to get refocused. We're going to have some very specific step-by-step goals, and we're going to take it 30 days at a time.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to give you 5 to 7, depending on how much time we have, ways that you can make money now. Now, closings in 30 days, paychecks in your pocket, cash flow flowing again. So when we come back from this quick commercial break, get ready to take some great notes. We're going to tell you exactly how to make money now.
Is coaching right for you? And how can I guarantee it will work for me? Chances are you are asking yourself those questions right now. I'll answer those critical questions for you in just a moment. But first, let's be honest about something you may have always suspected. You've probably always known that the nation's top 1% of realtors, those millionaire agents you see on TV, they possess a secret knowledge that the other 99% of agents do not have. Where did they learn what they know? And more importantly, how did they learn how to put this closely guarded information into money-making action? It's simple. They have a coach. Not just any coach. The nation's mega millions, top 1% of the realtors know that in order to maintain their almost unfair advantage, that they must have their own personal coach. A proven, market-tested coach who has truly walked in their shoes. A coach who has worked with many of the nation's leading agents. At this point, you're probably ready to maybe try coaching. However, you don't want to be unfairly locked into a long-term ball and chain that coaching contracts can give you. It just makes sense that you should be able to try it before you buy it. Even more importantly, you want to have a coach who is the best of the best, not someone who is simply assigned to you or, even worse, has never sold real estate. Can you imagine? If this is you, I have something for you right now that is exactly what you have been looking for. For the next 48 hours, Tim and Julie Harris Real Estate Coaching is offering you a free coaching call. This is a real coaching call with a real Tim and Julie Harris coach. Now, while you are thinking about it, why don't you visit us online at freecoachingcallsforagents.com to get started. Once again, that is freecoachingcallsforagents.com. Now, let's be clear. This exclusive coaching opportunity is only available for the first 50 realtors who are stone cold serious about their real estate business and know that in order to succeed at the highest level, they must hire a coach. So don't wait any longer. Take action now and visit us again at freecoachingcallsforagents.com to schedule your free coaching call. Again, that's freecoachingcallsforagents.com. Thanks so much. See y'all soon.
All right. So the topic of today's call. Now, who is this call for? Obviously, it's for everyone. It's a reminder for those of you who are ahead of the curve that you better keep on doing the things that got you there in the first place. Remember your contact to paycheck cycle. And what do we mean by that? If you contact someone today, a listing appointment is set. That's the initial contact. To the time that you get paid, assuming you take the listing, you get the contract, you negotiate the contract, inspections, all the whole 9 yards. How long is that in your market? What is a typical, contact to paycheck cycle time? conservatively 4 months. Maybe it's even longer. I have some coaching clients who it takes a year for them to sell a property. But let's just say conservatively 4 months. The contacts you're making today, the first hellos, how do you do? Great, you'd like to list your house, or, I'm glad to hear you want to buy a house. Those are the contacts today that are going to result in the paychecks for you 4 months from now. July, August, September, October, paychecks. Maybe even, sooner, hopefully, but in some cases, depending on your market, you could be working on your Christmas money. You could be working on your December paycheck money. You got to keep that in mind, guys, especially those of you who are kicking great. I was about to say kicking ass, but I'm going to say it. Those of you who are kicking ass for the first half of the year, you were kicking ass because of the contacts you made. Look at the closings you've had so far this year. Look at the money you put in the bank. That money has come as a result of contacts that you made in many cases 4 months ago, maybe even late last year. Understand? So, yes, you are doing the right things then to generate the listings, to generate the buyers, to generate the income. Are you doing the right things now? So for those of you who are ahead of the curve or even on track, congratulations. But remember, it's because you were doing something right or many things right 4 to 6 months ago. Don't lose connection with that. Otherwise, you're going to lose your momentum. And what will be the best year of your career so far, if you don't continue with your pace, continue with your momentum, will average out just to be an okay year. Screw okay years, guys. Make this the best year of your career. And if we can help you, obviously, free coaching calls for agents.com. Now, here's our list of the 30 easiest, quickest, cheapest, in many cases free ways to make money in the next 30 days. Maybe it's 45 days, but you get the idea. The quickest way to a real estate paycheck. Point number one, my dear.
All right, point number one for the fastest, easiest way to get to a paycheck, and my screen just went blank on me. Sorry. I know what our list is, though. Fastest way is, on the top of my list, hold an open house this weekend, get a non-contingent buyer to set an appointment with you, show properties this week, put them in contract, and close in 30 days or less.
Well, you just combined point number one and point number three, but that's still a good idea. Yes, that is a great idea. Get in front of a first-time buyer, ideally, a relocating buyer, somebody that is not contingent on the sale of a home. First-time buyers in many of your markets are the market. I realize that finding them inventory and all that's hard. But realistically, if you're looking for a fast 30-day paycheck, a first-time buyer that has nothing to sell can be a gold mine. Hey, here's an idea. Get 3 or 4 of them. So, Julie, what if they don't have a listing to hold open? What if they don't have any inventory? How can they possibly do an open house?
Well, you can go to your broker, your office mates, and in fact, the agents get stuck on this sometimes, so I'm glad that you brought it up. The open house that you hold open, when you, quote, borrow an open house from another agent, it doesn't have to be from your same brokerage or even your same office. Choose the house first, then talk to the agent. And any agent that turns you down for offering to do a free open house for them, which incidentally their sellers have probably been asking for, that agent's crazy if they don't take you up on that, right?
And
so
if you
move
feel
on to
guilty,
the next one.
If you feel guilty about holding some other agent's listing open, think of it this way. Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com will happily sell you the leads off somebody else's listing on their website for some ridiculous amount of money. So, again, our focus is on what you can be doing to make money now. And Julie said, heck yeah, go after a first-time buyer. Easiest ways to get first-time buyers are going to hold an open house. We did a radio show, listen to the radio show on some great open house tips. But as far as the open house to hold open, use some common sense here. If you have a choice between a house in the hood that no one's going to want to see unless they're driving by in a tank, or if you have a house in a cute little neighborhood that attracts first-time buyers like bees to honey, obviously do the second, not the first. Use some common sense. Don't hold a house open that's buried back in a neighborhood that's going to take a potential buyer 20 minutes just to drive to the house where you're going to have to put out 50 million signs.
Yeah, but there's no excuses on this one, Tim. I mean, agents sometimes will try a couple of, they'll make a couple of calls and it's not super easy, so they just decide, oh, nobody will let me hold their house open. That's ridiculous. Of course people will allow you to have their house open. There are agents who lose listings because they say, oh, I don't do open houses. That's because that seller wanted open houses. So don't give up after making a measly 2 or 3 calls. And many of you, the first time you ask, somebody's going to be thrilled to set you up on that. and that's going to be your next paycheck, or if you choose the right house and do it correctly the way we coach you to do it, that could be your next 2 or 3 or maybe 5 buyer sides. And incidentally, listings also come from open houses if you ask the right questions.
That's right. Use our pre-qualification scripts. Existing coaching students, we tell you exactly what to say, exactly how to say it. And what Julie just said, critical point. If you think about the houses, especially new listings, virtually all of the folks that are going to come through the house initially are going to be the neighbors. Do some door knocking prior to the open house. Let's say your open house is scheduled from noon till 3. Do a neighbors only open house from 11 till noon.
Mm-hmm.
Get involved. Go out there and get into action. If you are resisting that idea, it's because you are not serious about making money in the next 30 days. There's absolutely no exceptions to that rule. If you need money now and you're not willing to do this first idea, then you're really not willing to be in the real estate industry. You're not willing to be in this business. This is what the business is about. It's getting off your butt. It's about making some actions, about doing the right things, getting out there and having communications with folks with the mindset of being of service and helping them, in this case, buy a house is your primary goal. But again, to Julie's point, you might come across some really great listing leads. So another tail end idea on that and how you can also generate ideas and leads off your open house. Do some Craigslist ads. Do some other forms of free advertising announcing the open house. Run all the ads to, and this will cost you some money, but it's for the first 30 days it's free, so you can actually use this for free, 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com. 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com. We're not going to talk about it on today's radio show, but it is without a doubt simply the best, most effective way to generate real estate leads ever. So 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com. Run those ads on your Craigslist, and when they're weighing the address of the property that's going to be open, send them to 1-800-HOME-HOTLINE.com. They call the number, they hit a specific extension, and then your recording that you've done in your own voice is going to tell them the address. But at that point, obviously, you can call them back, following the scripts in the system, and hypothetically convert those into buyer leads. Super simple, painless, free thing that we just gave you. Every single one of you, whether you're behind the goals for the year, on track, or ahead, should be doing exactly what we just said for this week. Some of you have staffs. You have buyer agents in some cases. If that's how you have your business set up, consider having all of your buyer agents, everyone that works for you, doing a whole mess of open houses this weekend. Really, literally, massive effort. That's what's necessary right now this time of year. Remember, 60 to 70 days left this year, so why not make massive effort now? Julie and I are from Ohio, and there's an old saying, make hay while the sun is shining. Hey, guys, the sun is shining now. What if the winter this year is crappier than the winter we had last year? Probably is going to be. Won't you be glad when you're looking back knowing this December, this January, this February, maybe even March, when you don't feel like going outside because it's so cold and miserable? Won't you be thrilled that you worked hard now? Of course you will. So keep those thoughts in the forefront of your mind. Keep yourself motivated. The next point I wrote down, Julie, and you can talk about this, relentless lead follow-up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, relentless lead follow-up with intent to actually set appointments. So this is something that happens on pretty much every free coaching call, where you guys come to the call and you claim that you need more lead generation. You claim that the world is not raining leads enough on you, and yet when we ask you and we dig deeper about your existing leads, the call sounds something like, oh, yeah, I forgot about, and oh, yeah, there's this guy that, okay. And that's because you don't keep track of your leads the way you should. You don't follow up immediately with urgency. And when you do follow up, many of you are kind of wussy about how you handle it. You're not really asking for the appointment. You're just saying, hey, just following up with you, met you at the open house last Saturday. How's it going? Instead of something of value. Based on what you told me at the open house last Saturday, you were looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in the XYZ school district. I have found the exact house that meets your criteria. Let's go see it at 6 p.m. tonight. Call me back immediately. See the difference?
Julie, that goes back to previous radio shows, like the one yesterday about whether or not they're comfortable considering themselves salespeopeople. Because those of you who are not making, exactly, it is totally related. Julie said something critical. It's lead follow-up with the intent of setting an appointment. With the intent of setting an appointment. Not just say hello and how do you do, and hopefully maybe they'll ask if you will be willing to work with them. No, You are calling with the intent of pre-qualifying them for motivation, and then obviously you're going to have a lender pre-qualify them for their financial ability to purchase or, whatever their goal is, and you will then work with them. Follow the scripts, follow our techniques, follow the system coaching students that we give you exactly, and you will get consistent results. The bottom line here, though, with lead follow-up, and this is very interesting. I had as a coaching student for a while the number one Mercedes-Benz, I know I'm a realtor coaching coach, I get all that, but we've all got all kinds of people that we coach, different business owners, different people from different industries, some really interesting folks. So this guy in particular, he was the number one Mercedes-Benz salesperson in the world. And I'm going to tell you how I met him. And Julie, you'll remember this, right?
I do.
So
I do.
We basically thought, well, we need to get a car. I saw an ad, I don't remember what it was, maybe it was a TV ad, for a lease. Now, this was back in 2007, that Mercedes-Benz was running. So I sent an email to the local Mercedes-Benz dealer, an email, and I just gave them very cursory financial information, nothing in depth. And I hit return, and probably within a minute or two, I get a call, because we'd given them, actually, I sent them Julie's phone number, Julie's cell phone number. So Julie gets a call on her cell phone, and it's a sales guy, and he was calling back as a result of the email inquiry that I just sent over. And his script went something like this. I received your application. It's been approved. We have the car that you're interested in purchasing. Would you like us to bring it over to your house this evening?
Yeah, but it gets even better than that. If you recall correctly, and I remember this because I had said something obnoxious to you, like, what, are you buying a car on the internet or something, just teasing you? And I remember specifically because it was New Year's Eve, right? So this was like a Sunday, December 30th. Totally didn't expect to hear anything back until probably after the, beginning of the year, days later, if we ever heard back at all. So I really didn't take it seriously until my phone rang.
Yeah, and what happened? We got that car from him. I don't remember 3 or 4 other Mercedes after that. He was and we referred tons of our coaching students to him. No matter what state they live in, we would refer coaching students to him because he did such a killer job with lead follow-up. Well, so I took him on as a coaching client. So I had him for a coaching client for a while, and that's when I learned he's the number one Mercedes-Benz salesperson in the world. You know what his secret sauce was, guys? Why he was making nearly $1 million a year selling cars? Do you know what his secret sauce was? It wasn't necessarily price. I mean, you could argue service, but I would say his service level wasn't any better or worse than anybody else we had ever dealt with before. What his secret sauce is his lead follow-up. That was it. He would get on the lead faster than everybody else at the dealership and really anyone else selling Mercedes-Benz anywhere else in the world. He would follow up immediately, and he would obviously make the transaction. Are you? What's your sense of urgency? Lead follow-up is the secret sauce, and this is something else we've talked about, I think, yesterday, actually, and I think this is really an amazing fact. When most people will work with the first realtor that they meet, not the most qualified realtor, not the most technologically savvy realtor, not the best-looking realtor, not the best anything, the first one. So if you're doing an open house and someone is just in the market of thinking about selling their house, they may meet you. Once you do lead follow-up, statistically they're going to work with you, even if they end up meeting somebody who, let's be honest, is technically more qualified to sell their house from, maybe they've been selling houses for longer, or maybe they have better levels of experience, who knows what. But they will work with you because you got to them first. So if you're not making the money you want to make this year, I would pretty much guarantee you that your lead follow-up skills suck, or if you don't even have a system, you don't even have a rule for yourself with regards to how long it's going to take for you to follow up with folks. So the next thing we wrote down, in addition to obviously a powerful lead follow-up, is what we like to call being situationally aware. Julie, what does that mean?
I think most of you guys have had some sense of this before. If not, you need to get it together and tune in. If you've been, sitting in a restaurant or something like that, and just, there's the noise and the commotion, all these conversations going on, waiters and waitresses and dishes clanking, but you hear the word house or housing or open house or I'm looking at a house, I'm thinking of listing my house, and somehow your ear just tunes right into that. That's being situationally aware. I have a new coaching client that we're going to be starting to work with in August. She is a flight attendant, and routinely flies the same route going to her hometown where she gets lots of real estate leads. Why? Because she's situationally aware. People talk about housing on one level or another at all times if you just tune into it. I used to joke about getting leads just walking to the mailbox, when we had an embankment of mailboxes, because everybody congregates there. You all go there to get your mail. And people would say, they're looking at their mail. They look at, maybe their mortgage payment, or this is back when there were lots of loan mods going on. All people talk about is housing if you just tune into it. And don't be a secret agent about it.
So where are you in this year? Where are you with your income? Have you bothered to slow down and add it up? Some of you avoid that because you're scared of the number. Sometimes you're scared because it's way more than you've ever earned before, and it makes you uncomfortable. Those are fun free coaching calls when we slow you guys down and you start adding up all the money you make, and you realize you've made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars this year, and you don't even realize it. Those are fun calls. I love those. Lots of you guys are in the position where, provided you keep the same level of consistent momentum, you will be right on target for your year. And then some of you, again, are saying, well, where the heck is this real estate boom that Tim and Julie are talking about? Where's my real estate recovery? Well, depending on where you are, there's a direct correlation to the income you're earning and your willingness to open your mind to trying and doing new things. Your willingness and your not just trying, but actually taking the actions to be a master of whatever those specific skills are. Your income is directly related to your willingness to do what you don't want to do, guys, when you don't want to do it at the highest level. When was the last time you actually stuck with something that you almost hated doing, but you did it anyway and you succeeded at it? Some of you, when I ask that question, you have to go all the way back to when you were in school. And you had to get a certain grade to pass a certain class, or maybe your parents said if you get an A in math, they'll buy you a bike, whatever it was. You hated doing the math. You hated showing up to the class. You maybe even hated the teacher, but you did it at the highest level. You did it because you didn't have a choice. When was the last time in your adult life that you've done what you didn't want to do when you didn't want to do it at the highest level? Those of you who think that you can only make money when you have something that you're passionate about, you're wrong. Be passionate with the results of the work that you produce. Be passionate with the results of the money that you get from the work that you do. No one's going to be passionate about some of the things you have to do to be successful in any business, let alone in real estate. Some of the work just sucks. It's boring. It's monotonous. It's grueling. That's called normal.
Work and not vacation.
Called work. That's right.
If it was fun, you'd call it something different.
The successful ones of you get this. I don't have to tell you. I may be saying the words, but you're going like, you know what? He's right. I spend a lot of my time doing something I don't necessarily want to do, and I certainly do it when I don't want to do it. But because I'm able to do it at the highest level, that is the reason I'm making all this money. Hello? If you're serious about your real estate business, if you're serious about success at all, if you're serious about, being good at anything, that right there is the key. Doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. So if you want to make money now, if you're in a position where you have to produce income fast, go back and listen to the replay of this radio show. Do us a favor and share this radio show with as many other agents as you can. Help us help them turn their lives around. That's the wonderful thing about being a real estate coach is we have a direct impact not on just our coaching students, but on all those folks that you guys come in contact with. It's our passion to be of service to you because we like the results that come from it. Just like you being of service to your real estate clients, you enjoy the results that come from that, the feeling of accomplishment, the paycheck that goes along with it, the knowledge that you've helped somebody solve a problem. That's why you work. So if there's anything that we can be doing for you, please do the right thing and go to freecoachingcallsforagents.com and request a free coaching call. Obviously, preference is given to those of you who are existing coaching students or for those of you who are ready to become coaching students, preference in scheduling. Go to freecoachingcallsforagents.com. Have a fantastic day, and I'll talk with you on the radio tomorrow.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows, and until next time, thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.